we're not going to be going over a specific contract today. We are going to talk about, give you some insight into how to do a CMA, and how to talk about Zillow with your sellers, where to find the Zestimate in our tax records so that we can be prepared to talk to them about how maybe that's not accurate and why. So Sandra's going to be our guest today, talk about that.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to go over how to, the market condition advisory. So we will talk about a contract a little bit.
Which I love the market condition
Yeah, the
advisory.
MCA form.
And
It's
you guys
required for compliance, but we haven't really talked about it much and what it means and why it's important to have in our file. So we're going to go over that a bit today.
And also why we have that you should do a CMA and have your client sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is getting a seller's net for them and have them sign it. Those are two procedures I do every time I take a listing, no matter what.
Yep.
Or represent a buyer. I always get a CMA signed and always a net sheet.
Okay, well, let's just jump in then. Why do you have them sign a CMA?
It's mainly so that they're paying attention to, what that value is looking like. And I think that you can talk about it sometimes, but I love when they can see it. So I'll give you a very good example. Last night, I have a house in Clovis, some clients of mine that bought, I don't know, probably about maybe 4 years ago. It's an immaculate, beautiful home, and they want to move to a different area now. And they have just, it's the best house on the block. So they have everything. And I do think that we would be able to maybe get around 750, but the comps literally only show 680 at the most. That's it. So we're going to have to find someone that's going to be willing to do an appraisal gap. They're going to be putting down a large amount of money. We have to find that perfect buyer for that house. But I really wanted them to see those comps and know what they're getting into.
And you value it more because do they have the pool?
They absolutely do. So they have a corner lot. They have RV parking. They have a brand new pool, a brand new spa, and they have solar paid off.
Okay.
So, but still yet, we're going to be going way outside of the box. And I do think we will find a buyer for it. I know because it's hard to find all of that in Clovis School District. So they paid a little above also.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we will find buyers for it, but I really need them to look at what they need to see those comps themselves. So that helps.
Yeah, so it helps set the realistic expectation of, yes, you think their house could go for more. It has upgraded items that the other houses that are on the comparable sheet don't necessarily have, but
Completely.
we may not get what they want for it.
Well, and also having them sign a CMA, you really don't want them coming back, a year later and saying, well, you underpriced my house, you overpriced my house. When they're signing it and they see those comps there and here's your range, you're protecting yourself also. I believe that.
Okay.
Would you say that is
Absolutely.
very true?
And I'm going to jump over right now since we're talking about sharing that with the seller. We're going to look at the actual form market condition advisory. This is something that I require in our office. I think all offices do.
In Fresno, I would say most of the big offices require this.
Okay, it's
So
a
you're
two-page
seeing it, yeah.
document, and it's really just an advisory, as it says, to the buyer and the seller, which talks about the current conditions of the market, how prices are not set, they're not guaranteed to get a certain amount for their property. It goes in pretty good in depth. So this first section, I'm just going to summarize. Market conditions fluctuate all throughout the year, throughout the year. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's not. It's letting them know that depending on what is going on in the current market, things can be different. Section 2 is directed to the buyers. it's talking about your offering price. It really wants the buyer and the seller to know they are responsible for determining the price that they're offering, and the price to the sellers down here, the seller is 100% responsible for determining the price that they're going to list their house for and what they are willing to accept. Okay, so, and then going back up here, there's a little bit more that concerns with the buyer because it's talking about the broker does not recommend that you do a non-contingent offer. It talks about the contingencies. There's loan contingencies, appraisal contingencies, inspection contingencies, and insurance contingencies. And again, it states your broker does not recommend that you write a non-contingent offer, but market conditions will put you in a place where you're going to write to the best offer that you can to get the home you want. And it tells them there could be multiple offers, adjust your offer accordingly. And then again, to the seller is responsible for determining their asking price, and they are responsible for accepting an offer that they're willing to take that price for. And it might not be the price that they asked for.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's the big one.
Yes. I think just remembering to let your clients know that they are driving the boat. You're going to give them the broker opinion, and you're going to lay out all the paperwork for them to look at and your suggestion, but they're driving the boat.
Yes, and this document says that. So
Right.
in your listing presentation, I would actually print one of these out, leave it with them, talk to them about, take a look at this in your free time. But this explains to you how market conditions affect the sale of your home.
Yep. Love it.
Okay, let me go back to MLS. Log in here, and we're going to go through.
We're going to start at tax records.
Okay.
And so let's go into our tax records.
Okay. Pop up here. And this is different MLS for you guys online if you're
But probably very, very
but the
familiar.
tax suite should be similar.
Should be. Okay, so I'm gonna throw an address in. And I'm slow as heck. Okay, so here it is. So I'm going to be doing some comps and looking at what this home is on Van Ness Boulevard. So Van Ness Boulevard is pretty tricky because we have a long range. It's going to be from 4 million, it's probably $3 million homes all the way to 300,000, if you can believe it, on one boulevard.
Right.
So this is kind of a perfect home to be doing this. So you will get the idea of why Zillow is not always right, and then sometimes Zillow is right. So I think every home you have to look at it, and we have to remember that the clients are going to be going off of Zillow. That's what they're going off of. They're going to be looking up their value, watching their value off of Zillow. They're going to be looking at when they're wanting to purchase a home, they're going to be looking at the Zillow review and what Zillow says it's worth. And we got to get around that and show that we're the professional, and either yes, it's correct, or no, it's not. So I think this is a really easy way. And I always do this when I'm doing my CMAs or anything. When I go to a listing appointment, I find out what Zillow says the house is worth. So you're going to go to comparables, and then you're going to do a quick CMA. And when you do your quick CMA, it's going to come right up here what the Zestimate is. So this house is 556. And this is my favorite part. It maps it out for you, which I got that a little too big. I want to go in. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So it maps out the comps that Zillow has used. So what is phenomenal about this is Zillow doesn't know that over in this area, maybe these homes are Leo Wilson. Maybe over here, they're custom. So Zillow's doing kind of just a radius around that subject. But as agents, we know the difference, hopefully, between those home styles and what we have going on. So I always like to map it out. I take this to my clients at listing presentations and if they're purchasing a home. So this was a purchase. I have clients wanting to purchase this. So we here's the subject, and Van Ness being very well known in our area and can vary from 3 million to 300,000. I had to probably maybe disagree a little with this price.
The Zestimate or the listing
The
price?
Zestimate.
Okay.
Yeah, I would look at the Zestimate because look at how far out the Zestimate's getting over here. These are completely different homes. So I wanted to narrow it down, and I go through the list and choose the ones that I really know are going to be great. And even if I go back further than what Zillow went, I think I can get a closer Zestimate. I mean, a closer estimate for me. And then secondly, what I would do, like with Van Ness, this was really interesting. And unfortunately, they decided not to buy this house. And I showed them everything on Van Ness from a mile this way, north, and a mile south. So they could see just Van Ness, what that span was. And they did not like when they saw those prices, that they were on the cusp of the prices going clear down to 350.
Okay.
And they're purchasing here at 5 something.
Mhm.
And then 1 mile away is, 900. And they really want, they want a house, a range around 800. So that just really wasn't going to work out once they could actually see that range. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I just use that with Van Ness because Van Ness is, that's a certain boulevard here that's well known, and, it has
Mhm.
big fancy houses.
Yeah.
So in a way, they thought they were going to be getting some house that they could redo, but really it's kind of on the cusp of a different price range than what they would be interested in.
Gotcha.
Oh, you can hear the train tracks while we were there. We heard it at least 4 times just visiting within like 20 minutes. So yeah, very close to the train tracks. So Zillow doesn't know that it's close to the train tracks. And as you get some of those estimates that they used in this area, as you do get closer, you can see that the price fall really, really quickly.
Mhm.
So Zillow doesn't know about the train tracks. They don't know about a lot of things. So I think this is really, when you map this out for people, they actually can understand it and see it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Do you guys usually do you use this, Mitz?
Do it from scratch.
From scratch? Yeah. So you never go in and get like the Zillows and yeah. And you can of course do this from scratch. You do your radius search, but I really like to either prove Zillow wrong or at least include it in my listing or buying presentation because they've probably already looked at it.
Right.
So,
I think
don't,
you just gave a great example, an explanation of it. The way you would talk to your client is perfect. The way you explained it to us.
yeah. So yeah, well, this is real scenario. So the house I was talking about earlier that they want to sell in Clovis, they want to sell a beautiful house that they've redone. I think they're just bored and they want to go over to Van Ness area and kind of start over, but they want to be really careful of neighborhood, of walking and stuff. And so yeah, it's so I think that using the tax records is really great. Also, I use this. You guys kind of probably already know my spill. I do a CMA for my all of my clients 4 times a year. And it's not fancy. I don't do a fancy thing. I just do a regular CMA around their house. And of course, I kind of already know their house. So I might choose one that says, hey, this one has pool and RV. It's more like your house. You're probably around 450 instead of this range. I write little personal notes on there on what their home is worth. And I use this because I know that I match it up. I go into Zillow, and if it's not in the range that I'm sending them, I'm going to explain, why their Zillow is off. Remember, guys, Zillow might show that it's your house is at 550, but we know that it's a custom Gary McDonald, and Zillow's pulling the wrong thing, and it's really worth around 750. So your clients will really like that if you're checking that every time. So when you're doing your CMAs, I would definitely say you want to check Zillow, because again, it's what they can find and it's what they're watching. So if you can prove different, you're going to really stand out.
My favorite Zillow line is it's a Zestimate, not a Zestimate.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, that's funny. Yeah. So definitely if you're doing your CMAs, this is where I go first. I go here. Well, first of all, I pull their tax records to make sure they haven't sold without me. Because it would be really embarrassing to send a letter, right? So I pull their tax records first, and then I go to Zillow, the Zillow Zestimate, and then I do my research. So I do all three of those things, and I always write down on their tax record, as I remember, I write down what their value is of their home, what I've said and what Zillow says. So I put a little Z, I write a note, and I've been doing this for, probably some houses 16 years. So when you go to a listing presentation and you have 16 years of what's happened to their house, and they know you've been mailing to them for a year, 4 times a year, and you've been keeping track of what their estimate is in their house, they really like that.
Yeah.
And it's also something that you can say, hey, Judy, I was looking at your CMA from 5 years ago. You have 250,000 in equity now. Good job in your investment. Putting a seed in their mind that, hey, you got $250,000 worth of equity since you purchased with me. So I'm just a real big believer in the CMAs, because I really think that when you own a home, that's where our value comes in. If we can make a relationship with your clients, that you're going to keep them in touch with what their home value is, and it could be up and down. Even in a down market, I send it. I don't say you have equity, but I say here, we've had a market shift, but just wanted to keep you up to date on what's happening in your neighborhood. That's all you have to say. But you have to be consistent with it. When I go to the grocery store, I swear I run into people and they're like, oh, hi, are you going to send us that thing on our house? They'll actually ask me, am I going to be sending that soon? So it's just a really simple thing, and it's a stamp, but it's something that I feel like has really worked. And every single time I do them, I know I just did like the 350 a few weeks ago. These people reach out to me, and they were part of
That campaign.
that campaign, and whether they buy a house, they don't sell, but if they do, it's going to be a big deal. So, and who knows, maybe they'll refer their neighbor. So I always put an extra business card and say, I'm never too busy for your referrals. And usually I get something off of that. I pretty much live off of that.
That's
So
great. Do you want to show us how you do this?
yeah, I could. Let's see. So let's just do one on this house here. We'll go back. I need to get out of tax records, but I can't see because
we can
that
go.
black thing is up there. We just need to get back to the MLS, but there's a big black. Aha, you got it,
There we go.
Jessica.
Okay, let me put it back up.
Couldn't
Make
see.
this bigger. Okay.
Yeah, so if you're just going to do a simple CMA, you're going to do a radius search. And then let's just stick with this one because we're already here. So I'm gonna just go, so there's 3 homes, a fourth of a mile. So I'm probably gonna need to go out. Maybe, I normally try to stick with the fourth of a mile, but 3 isn't gonna be enough for, enough information for them. So let's go out a half a mile. And I know that this house is 2,000 square feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and put maybe 1,900 square feet to, I'll do 21 because I think that's probably going to give me enough. Ooh, no, it's not. So let's do 22 and see what we get.
Just one.
Just one. Oh boy. And yeah, so that's not going to work. Let's go back and oh my gosh, it took it away. We're going to, if I need a listing. No, it didn't.
To revise.
She has to revise criteria.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need to put in
So,
pending?
oh yes, of course I do. That's where you guys got me on the spot. I forgot to put everything I want. So if I'm doing a CMA, I am going to do active, pending, pending and sold because I want them to see what's on the market. And this is a half of a mile and I ended up only getting 3 with that criteria, but I think maybe I am going to go ahead and do a mile. Because I really kind of want to stick with that. And there's 8, that's going to be really good. So let's review what we got. So this is sticking within the square footage and you can kind of see the prices here. They're all, okay, so this one on Van Ness is 730. So you can see how Van Ness is going up in price. So I might want to keep that in there or I might want to throw it out. So sometimes when I'm doing a CMA, I might throw out the lowest or the highest, or maybe both if there's a lot of them. So I can just get a good range. But you know, in this, I think what would be best, because this is only 1,900 square feet and it's the highest, I think I'm going to throw that one out. So I'm going to use everything except for this one. And then I'm just going to go to, I think I have to put checked all now. Oh, and it automatically did the CMA for me. So you got your active, your pending. There's all different versions of this that you can do. You can do,
It's going to be different for each MLS.
yeah, each MLS. But what's great about this is I literally print this out and write a note on it. It gives me enough. I don't do anything fancy. I mean, you could do property reports. And remember, you could do all of this neighborhood. Once you have this, you have information on any of the houses right around that area within the square footage. So, oh, I should show something else in tax records.
Okay.
Let's go back to tax records and I'll show you this. If you're farming. So now you know how to do a CMA and that CMA could be used for just a neighborhood. You could do a radius search and then send out to all of the neighbors. So when you're in to the tax records and say, I have this house and I want to farm around it, you can go to prospecting. If you guys see prospecting there, and maybe you all know this, but anyways, prospecting is so cool. And we're going to get into this also about farming your neighborhood because you can find out exactly who lives next door, when they bought. So anything in that neighborhood, you can go to tax records and see who you want to put on your mail list. So, and this is something you can always use if you have an address, like say, or maybe you come into your neighborhood and every day there's someone 3 doors down that always waves to you, or maybe you've kind of chit-chatted with them because you walk the dog or whatever. You can, this is a great way to stalk people.
Figure out their name.
You figure out their name, you forgot it, or you figure out where they live and put them on your mailing list. And so you don't have their email or their phone number, you could always mail to them. Snail mail, I think people do open things because
Especially if it's handwritten.
It's handwritten.
Mhm.
And they open them. They absolutely do. So I have, when I do my CMAs, I do a little sticker that says your home value is inside. Or one, if I'm just doing like a blanket of a neighborhood, I'll say your neighborhood value is inside, so that they know, it's something to do with the value of their home, which
Mhm.
most people really do want to know. Even if they already know, they want to
Mhm.
verify that they
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, so these are all good ways. Another little tip about this prospecting, when you're doing these open houses, before I had a sphere, before I had a lot of people to mail to, I did a lot of open houses. And Joe Cerrone, who is a top agent in Fresno, he taught me, I did an open house with him, and he really taught me that you're not necessarily trying to sell the house. It's great if you do, but what you're really doing is trying to connect with neighbors and add them into your sphere and make a connection. So when a neighbor comes through the house and they say, "Oh, we redid our kitchen. Our house is just like this, but we redid our kitchen." That's your cue to say, "Oh, well, I would love to see your kitchen. After the open house, when I get my signs, can I stop by and check out your kitchen, your pool, your whatever they're bragging and telling you about?" Put them on the spot and try to get into their house. And he taught me that, and I have sold many homes by doing that. And it wasn't off the bat. It was, I made a connection with them, went in, saw their lovely pool, and then automatically started putting them on an update with a handwritten note. "Hey, I still think about your kitchen. If you guys ever want to move, just wanted to keep you updated on your home value." That goes a long way.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to stalk them.
Yeah.
Say they come across the street, but you don't really want to you don't want to be so fierce that you're getting their information. You don't want to be salesy. Well, then stalk them and send them a handwritten note. "Hey, this is Sandra. You stopped by the open house. I just wanted to say thank you for coming by the open house, and here's your home value. I'll keep you posted when this house sells." And when you say that, you make sure and you do that.
Mhm.
You send them a little note. "Hey, the house sold for, $890. I had 3 offers. Just wanted to keep you updated." So those are just little touches and connection that it takes a little effort, but that's really how you can get your way in with people.
Yeah, that's great.
Make sense?
Mhm.
All right.
Anyone
Well,
have any questions? Is there anybody in the chat? I can't see it on ours.
That's good. I honestly, I've never used it because I actually didn't even know it really existed.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been doing it by hand, you know, because that's the way it was done in the old days.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's nice to double check though. It's nice to double check and the prospecting, we can find out anyone where they live and who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So when my kids were in sports, they would get invited to things, birthday parties or whatever, and I didn't necessarily know the client, know the people. They're just going to a swim party, and they're old enough to go to the swim party by themselves. I'm dropping them off. I jot down the address, and then all of a sudden they're on my mailing list, and then pretty soon they know that Sandra Wilkinson is it's on to them. She's mailing. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the subject.
I've actually done a CMA on that property and that house right there.
Oh, how
So,
funny.
yeah, it's right.
Well,
in
there you go.
neighborhood, So.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but it's a good way to get your sphere going. Like when you just can't think of people to put in it, there's always people that you can deliberately in your mind start thinking about to put into your sphere.
Yeah.
Yes. Your radius.
You write right on that piece of paper.
I
and
do.
Send it. Letter.
I do. I don't do anything fancy, but there are a lot of people that do fancy things. Angela does a really neat one, and so does Ashley in our office. Ashley would be, more than willing to share it with you. She does, her cute little picture on there. And I don't really go to that extent.
It'd be hard if you're doing 300.
Yeah, well, you can. And I have done a market update on the backside. I'll run it through my computer at home and do like a little market update, what's happening in Fresno. If things are really different in real estate, sometimes I'll do a little something there. But most of the time when I'm doing 350 of them, I do the same thing every single time. And I think really more it's the personal touch that I'm going to write. I hope Johnny's doing good in soccer. Hey, you know, I ran into Dave at the grocery store. It reminded me of when you guys bought your house. I mean, just thinking of something just naturally that you would be nice and say to someone. Yep.
Great.
And most of those people they really do want to help you with your business. And just a word for new agents too. Sometimes you can't, you think you haven't made people happy in a transaction because maybe it doesn't close on time or there's something that goes a little sideways and you kind of have it in your stomach that, well, they weren't that happy at the end. Erase that. They got the home that they wanted. There's always things that happen in transactions that aren't perfect. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, even though something has happened, because I've felt that way about people. And then, I still mail to them. And then all of a sudden they call me and they're like, hey, we want to sell our house. And I'm thinking, oh, they must not remember when it didn't close. And then we had to get a new lender and oh my God, all this drama. But just don't be afraid of that. Once you've sold something to them or they've looked at something or whatever, just make them their clients until you do your CMAs and you see that they sold with their brother-in-law.
Yeah. Well, and two, like some of the hardest clients actually end up loving you.
They end up loving
I
you
thought
and you
for
don't think
sure
so.
this one married couple hated me at the end of it. Like she was stomping her foot, having a fit and cussing at her husband in Spanish because the carpet wasn't professionally cleaned, which was not part of our contract. I never knew that that's what she wanted, but I mean, it was thing after thing after thing like that. And I thought for sure, okay, whoo, this is done. Wash my hands. I don't ever have to see them again. They referred me to other people. They called me back when they wanted to sell 2 years later. I didn't live there anymore, but I got the referral because I referred it to my agent friend. Like, so I was shocked that they gave me repeat business after that.
Yeah. So you get it in your head sometimes that it wasn't perfect and then you're afraid to reach out. Don't ever be afraid. Just keep reaching out to them until, like I said, and then when you do reach out and somebody does sell it, they sell with somebody else and you've been mailing to them for 16 years. You've been doing this for 16 years. It's hurtful. And almost every single time that 350 people that I send, I find someone that has, they sell with somebody else. But you know what? Just don't think that they might not come back to you, because I've had that happen also. They have sold with somebody else and then they call me to purchase and then they tell me, oh, we had a really bad, we cheated on you, Sandra, sorry. But we want to use you. I've had that happen.
And you don't know the circumstance. Like maybe in order to get the deal they wanted, they felt like they had to go with another person.
Right. So remember not to, if you don't get a listing, don't go knock on the door. Let's not try to find out why you didn't get the listing. Let's just move on. If somebody sells without you, congratulate them on their new house, move on. You'll be surprised how many people do come back to you. As long as you stay professional about it, and you don't need to call the other agent and say, how did you end up selling this home? You just need to know that real estate's tough. You have to have tough skin and you just move on. So I've seen a lot of agents that gets in their mind, and they really, it does a number, because they think that, it can really get on in your mind. We're all competitive and it hurts, but you just have to move on. I just take their CMA and rip it.
You write him a new one. I
Yeah.
will never send you your value again.
Yeah, yeah. But you just, the thick skin part of real estate, that is just the truth. You have to learn to have thick skin. Yeah. You can't make it in this without having thick skin because you will get your feelings hurt. Yes.
To go. On beat on Circle Drive, someone from Guaranteed listed for 650. I told him it's like more like 550, sold for 550.
It sold for 550.
Ooh.
Ouch. Ouch.
Your client's better off, probably.
Ouch. Yeah. And you see that happen. I mean, sometimes you can't help but, watch a house or see, yeah, you never know why they don't go with you, but you win some and you lose some in real estate. That's always I keep that in my head. And when you win, you can make a lot of money at this business, but you're not going to get everyone's business.
You can pick your comps. I think those guys, whoever they were talking to, just did a radius, just took whatever was there. They probably didn't compare them well
Mhm.
enough.
Well, I think using this method is really great because it shows you the streets. You can actually show the client, hey, you know that once you cross Fowler, the houses are different over there. I mean, when you're looking at those within a neighborhood, it's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Especially in that neighborhood, they're all different builds. So
Right, right. Oh yeah, that neighborhood is all different builds. Yeah, it's really could have a lot of different varies. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you, Sandra.
Yes,
This was great.
thank you for having me. Yay. They made it sound like there was a ton of people here, huh?
Bye, everyone.